Welcome to The Culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, music, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. It's a lifestyle. We are The Culture. Hi, and welcome to our show today. I'm your host, Jessica Garrett Modkins. Joining us is NFL great, University of Miami football Hall of Famer, businessman. You may know him as Mel B. I want to introduce and welcome to The Culture, Melvin Bratton. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Jess? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so ecstatic to have you on. I know all of the Culture family is ecstatic. I got questions that we've been tossing around. And let's just start out with the fact that we all think that you're the epiphany of showmanship when it comes to collegiate and professional athleticism. What prompted you to get into athletics?
Well, as a child, in the neighborhood, playing sandlot football and being able to just kind of show your skill set. And in the neighborhood, some of the kids' parents was taking them to the Northwest Boys Club. So I'm like, what is a boys club? I didn't know exactly at the age of 8, what the boys club was about. So I asked my mom, can I ride along with them and go? So I went, kind of test everything out, and I came back excited, saying to be in an environment that was actually competitive, and asked my mom, can she, sign me up? Of course, she gave me a little, like, how much that gonna cost? Saying like that, being a mom. But I ended up, she signed me up, and I was blessed to be under the tutelage of a coach named Jesse Hope. Rest in peace. We started Northwest Express Track Club, and Northwest Boys Club was my starting point in life, and I was blessed to be able to be under his jurisdiction.
Wow, awesome start. So this is an ongoing topic, especially with Black media, and then you have people like Deion Sanders, Ocho Cinco talking about it, and it's a discussion of majority schools and HBCU schools. I want to take you back to, let's just say you're 18 right now, you're about to graduate. How would you fare in this social climate as it relates to considering an HBCU to go to for your collegiate?
Well, it's funny, I'm glad you asked that question. I was just with Deion Sanders on this past Sunday. We did an event down in Laurel, Mississippi, and because the community, it was a parents fee for him, but the community wanted to touch him, feel him, let he's real, because he's a down-to-earth person. He's like a brother to me. But one of the things, just back in high school at Miami Northwest Senior High School, Miss FAMU, I don't remember her name back in that day, that was in the 80s. She came and did a speaking engagement at the school, and everybody was introducing, saying the top athletes, myself, Tommy Streeter, Tolbert Bain. And so her and I got into a conversation, about this Black college and the next step. So she said, well, why? She said, what schools are you considering? And I told her, University of Miami, University of Michigan, Pittsburgh, Texas A&M, and Southern Cal. So in Ohio State. So she was like, well, why not consider a Black university? So she put a point in my head. I reached out, honestly, to, I think it was Southern University, Southern Grambling, one of them. And I told the coach, I said, listen, I want to take a trip there. They told me they're not going to waste their money and time because they knew they didn't have opportunity at that time in the 80s. And they kind of hurt my feelings in a sense. I wanted to go check the culture out because I had a former player before me, James DeMeritt, end up going to Jackson State and playing. So he turned down Georgia Tech. He's a smart kid. But now sitting with Deion, at the University of Miami, what we did in the culture, and Deion brought that point up on Chaz's show, basically saying that we can change the culture. He said, look at what Mel B and Alonzo Highsmith did at the University of Miami. University of Miami was not on the map. We were two young kids, inner city kids, and we decided on the phone one night, we was going back and forth. We said, listen, what you thinking? He said, what you thinking? I mean, we didn't even consider Miami. And God just hit me and hit him. I said, hi, you know what? I said, something in my spirit is telling me we should stay home and change this culture and build it out. Let's screw all these other schools, Florida State, Ohio State, Texas, and all this tradition. Let's create our own narrative. We did not know exactly what we were speaking into existence. Mm-hmm. And here it is. The U is the U, and they credit Alonzo and myself far as being the ones that catapulted the whole university.
Yeah, I could only think about what if all of that great talent went to an HBCU. it would change the trajectory of sports. And I thank people like Deion Sanders for even being at the forefront of where we are today, and having this discussion, because when you were in school, to your point, it wasn't a conversation. This wasn't the type of dynamic. And look, schools, quite frankly, were afraid of trying to recruit somebody like you because they just knew that they couldn't compare to those D1 schools. And we'll get back into this a little more when we come back after this break. We're going to talk more about UM. And of course, Melvin's a sports agent. Let's talk about it when we come back.
Hit me with your best shot. Come on and hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
The COVID-19 vaccine is here. We're giving it our best shot for a strong, healthy community. Find out more at miamidade.gov/vaccine. Take your best shot at life. Get vaccinated.
Thank you for joining us. I have Melvin Bratton joining the culture today. And Melvin, you touched on this about bringing things into fruition. Were you a part of that Fiesta Bowl team? Weren't you?
Of course. I mean, yeah, the fatigue year. Yes.
Yes. Now, I want to say that I know I was not alone. I was excited. I was so proud of what you all did. You got some backlash, but for me as a Black woman, being a football fan and especially a fan of the University of Miami, I was excited. What went through your mind? Why did you guys do it? How did it all come about?
Jess, you know what? You got to be a local and understand this because you're the first out of all the interviews, podcasts I've ever done. Nobody asked about that. So, yeah, you a diehard and you know. So let me tell you the psyche behind it. At that time, I don't know if you remember, we were getting in trouble off the field. Testaverde had a situation with a motor scooter. We just had stuff back to back. So the media and the press was really at us as far as being rebels, they're thugs, they're from the hood, they ghetto, the whole deal. But let me put this point out before I go into that. One of the things they call us all those names, but our graduation percentage was 97%.
Wow.
All right. We graduated. I have my degree, business management, not no Mickey Mouse type stuff that just put me in the classes. We earned our degrees. So let's get that point. Mm-hmm. But what happened was when we were going through all that turmoil, it was like us against the world mindset. You know, we felt like we was alone. So we turned that into us against the world. So we took the mindset, Jerome Brown, Winston Moss, and Alonzo Highsmith, they quietly came up with this without even sharing it. So they said we're going to war, to war on the football field. So I don't want any veterans calling us, hitting your show saying, why they use that terminology? But we're going to war on the field. So it's us against the world. So they snuck off before. We had on ties and suits because that's how we had to travel. So we sit on the bus. We was on the buses waiting. Those three wasn't there. We look up, they pull up. They got on the fatigues, the army hats, the tight shirts, the shades, and they wasn't talking to us. They was like, they finna go to war. They was in military form. And we looking at them like, dog, where y'all get that outfit from? So they told us. All of us about jumped off the bus. We jumped in cars. Brian Blaze, Benny Blaze, Bain, all of us. It's about 25 of us got in cars. We held the plane and the bus up, went to this store on Bird Road, and the surplus store, went in there and bought everything out. So we took all those suits off and threw them in the bag, and all of us would sit on the plane. We didn't talk for 4 hours. Phoenix, Arizona from Miami is over 4.5 hours, going one way or 4.5, 5. We didn't talk. We were ready to go. So our mindset was like, we sick and tired of the media going out. We sick and tired of everybody hollering. We were thugs. We were hoodlums. So our mindset, like, let's flip this. So that's exactly what happened. So we got off that plane. Jimmy Johnson's already out there. So he didn't know. He didn't even have a clue what we were doing. And we were a creative team anyway. We would have crazy. All of us, we didn't really care, but we did care. We got off that plane. Testaverde was the first one to get off that plane. I'm behind Testaverde. Then you got Jerome, you got Alonzo, and that whole mindset, it would have changed college football, the culture, had we won that game, because fatigues now still is a fad.
Right.
But had we won that game, it'd have been a U.S. I mean, across the country, everybody was rocking the fatigues and throughout the process, but we ended up losing that ball game.
Well, you still were you were the team to all of us, and you still won. You won to us, and plus you came back the next year and just like tore it up. So that was one of your best games.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Let me ask you this: top 5 football players.
See, don't go there, Jessica. See,
Come
no,
on.
when you start, because see, I got beef with Warren Sapp right now. I mean, we need to get him on the show with me, you, and him,
Uh,
and because he got on Shannon Sharp show and he called out some names, whatever. Honestly, though, sis, I can't touch that because it's so many. If you give like 5, uh, I guess slots per 5, that's 25. I can do that. But to
25,
say
but not 5.
not 5. It's got to be 5 in each category. You got to go by position. You got to go by the era. You got to go by. It's so much got to configure in that space. I'm not going to start this drama and get into no fighting these dudes right there. So it's a lot.
I get it. I get it. Well, I had to ask. You didn't have to answer, which you didn't, but I just had to ask. Let's
All
talk
of them. All of them. All of them. All of
all
them.
of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay. Let's talk about being a sports agent. What even made you decide to go into that industry?
Well, actually, it was my personal story. I was projected top 5 pick coming out my year. That game we won the championship, Oklahoma. I spoke something again to existence. I said if I got to give anything up, a leg, or arm to win this game, I want to win this game. And you can't speak everything in existence. And I blew my knee out in the fourth quarter of that game. But the agent at that time, his name was Robert Fraley. He passed in a plane crash with Payne Stewart, a golfer, and Robert was my agent. So strategically, when I got hurt, I had to kind of figure out, what I'm saying, because the field turf and the grass, it was terrible as far as the turf field back then. So I was giving him knowledge. Like I said, Rob, let's do this. I said, I won't be able to go to combine. I can't work out. Let's invite like 8 teams with grass fields. So I researched the teams. I saw who had like San Francisco, Denver, who had grass fields. So with my need for longevity, I wanted to play in a market basically on that and who fit my style of play. So I'm giving him at dinner. We sitting there. So he sat back and looked at me. He said, "Where'd you learn this from?" I'm like, and just on top of my head. And he said to me, you can't tell an 18-year-old kid, 19, well, at the time, 20, and from the hood, from neighborhood, that don't do something. He told me, don't you ever, if you don't make it in football, don't get in the agent business because you're going to put me out of business. I'm sitting there like, you can't tell me that, not me. But my mindset. So I knew right then I made an impact on him because I strategically walked him through the process for me, and it worked out. I got drafted by the Dolphins in the 6th round, then signed. I went back in the draft. I went through the pain twice, and the Broncos took me a round later. I ended up starting the Super Bowl. So I made some business cards up, and I was going to the locker room. I went to John Elway first when I played for the Broncos, Gary Kubiak, Steve Atwater, who's a Hall of Famer. I went to all of them. I said, Bobby Humphrey, I said, listen, look, your next contract, I do it for the low. Give me a holler. They laughed, but I was dead serious. You know what I'm saying? I was dead serious. So I was always been intrigued from the backside of it, and it's been interesting because I had to figure out how to structure my life and negotiate with the teams and put it together. So that's where the knowledge and the taste came from.
And then are you using some of the athletics? Well, you being a player, I'm sure that the things that you thought that should have happened from your agent, though you're using that experience to be able to frame and change the trajectory of some of the people who are on your roster.
Yes. And one of the things, yes, that I learned when I go into a home, and I say this, and when I blew my knee out, I was on that ground. One thing I can say I had under my belt, I had a college degree at that time. So a university got the best out of me, and vice versa, I got the best out of them. But I saw something, and maybe as an agent right now, I never turn my back on people because when I got hurt, everybody, all the hoopla, all the agents, they had me going to Tampa Bay in the 4th pick. I end up, nobody called, nobody even, my mom, it was just her and I left alone. And I had a lot of dark moments, you know what I'm saying, as far as depressed and the whole deal. Like, here I go from being the top running back in the country to nothing. and people basically didn't even, acknowledge nothing about it. So they disappeared. All the calls, everybody else. So now I took that, how I felt. If you're a first round pick or a last pick or not even drafted, I treat you the same. I don't care if you a multimillionaire, if you was $0. I'm just that person now because I went through it personally. So and now it taught me a lot. Saying you can't treat people wrong no matter where they at, on top or down.
Nice. I can't close without asking you what's next.
Well, I started Zenith Developers Group. I presently right now I have a hotel casino that I've been kind of quiet, so I'm breaking this on your show. That I'm building in Rincon, Puerto Rico, up north. I've been at that project for about 4 years. We should have the groundbreaking ceremony in the next probably the top of the year. So $150 million project there.
Wow.
Towards Florida, doing some stuff there. Quiet is kept right now. I can't reveal that. But I'm doing some stuff in the hotel casino space. The Virgin Islands, also a hotel in the Key. It's in St. Croix, and also it's a property in St. Thomas that I've been working on that. So I got 3 projects in Puerto Rico, the 2 in the Virgin Islands, and I'm gonna bring my talents and my group, I guess, to Florida. So minority-owned company, and we get ready to make history.
Nice. Well, congratulations. We look forward to allowing the culture to know the things that you are doing when you do break ground and when those properties are able to open up. Please let us know.
We're gonna throw the Melvin old school parties at all. We just gonna move it around. We're gonna move it around.
See, I wasn't even gonna talk about that. We were almost out of here.
How old were you when you were sneaking in the back door?
Oh my gosh. I think I might have been 17. I had to at least be 17. I don't think my mother even knows. She's watching, so she's gonna know now, Ma. When Melissa and I said we were going, to so and so. We were at Melvin Bratton's party. Was that at what hotel?
We started at the Eden Rock the first couple of years, and then we went to the Fountain Blue.
Oh my goodness! When I walked in that ballroom, I was like, I love this. I had the time of my life.
We didn't charge anybody, and actually, I'm getting people right now. They're coming up to me. People got married from those era. I mean, I met my wife there, and I get hit here in Atlanta, living in Atlanta. All the Miami folks, UM plays Alabama coming up. Mel B, we gotta do another Mel B reunion. I'm like, dude, I am way over the hill. I got children. I'm trying to I'm on a whole different level, but they trying to pull me just back into that.
You gotta come. When you come to Miami for the classic, come on, let's do it. Let's do it.
That's what everybody says. I keep that in mind. We may have a little something coming up.
All right. Let us know. Please let us know.
We'll do. I appreciate you.
Culture family, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to join us right here tonight at 6 p.m. for another edition of My 2 Cents. It'll be a great time. Set your clocks, grab a drink, and let's just have a good time. See you tonight.
The Culture is produced and owned by the Culture Media Group and cannot be reproduced or broadcast without written consent. All rights reserved 2021.